What's going on, guys? The Comics Kid 2099 here. Welcome to day 184 of the 365-day graphic novel review challenge. Today, I want to talk to you about yet another Ghostbusters book. This is Ghostbusters, Displaced Aggression. This is a 4-issue miniseries written by Scott Lobdell with art by Elias Kyriazis. And the story here is that the Ghostbusters were fighting Gozer's father, who scattered them throughout space and time as revenge for killing Gozer. And then he wants to eliminate all of humanity, basically to add salt to the wound. And then one of Egon's students, who he mentored about a year before this story starts, she has to go and rescue all the Ghostbusters and bring them back to the present day so that they can defeat Gozer's father. And then we get to see an entire issue where we get to see what Venkman was up to in the Old West, we get to see what Ray was up to during the time of King Arthur, and we get to see what Egon was up to on Mars in the future. And it's really cool getting to see some of this stuff. We get to see the Ghostbusters fighting Morgan Le Fay, who is banished to a ghostly realm. We get to see Venkman basically acting like Venkman. He is kind of seen as a stud. He makes a move on this kindly school marm in this Old West town. It's actually New York City, I think, but it's just really small and it's not urbanized yet, because at one point he goes into this hotel and he's having a flashback to when he and his friends went into the hotel in the first movie. I think it's implied that that's the hotel, but I'm not entirely sure. But we get to see them kind of acting the way that they would normally act in these situations. Ray is very childlike in his fascination with all of what's going on. It seems like he was in the Dark Ages for a very long time. We get to see that there are these paintings of Ray fighting these demons and dragons and stuff, and there's a stained glass window that they made, so I feel like he was there for a couple of years, but I'm not really sure. Egon, it's a little weird getting to see what he was up to in the future on Mars. For some reason, he has become a tyrant on Mars, basically commanding everyone on Mars to obey him and worship him as a god, because he is defending Mars from an army of ghosts that are coming from Earth. And we find out later that he was traumatized by the time travel and he wasn't acting the way that he normally would act. I don't get it, because Venkman and Stantz, they were not traumatized by time travel. We didn't see them become gods or demand that people worship them, so that was a little weird. Also, this girl who's going around rescuing the Ghostbusters, she claims that she is a student of Egon, and I'm going to go ahead and spoil this a little bit. She is not. She is not what she claims that she is, and that's pretty easy to tell even in the first issue. There's one point where she asks Venkman why they are saving this town. She says, if we can just go back to the future and fight Gozer's dad, then none of this will be happening. And he says, yeah, we're going to go ahead and save these people, though. And she says, why are we protecting these humans who won't even protect themselves? And I'm thinking, if she is allegedly a human, then why is she referring to them as humans? So it's pretty easy to tell that there's more going on with her than meets the eye. Even in issue 2, Ray calls her bluff. He says, hang on a second, Egon hasn't been to NYU in years, so he wouldn't have met this girl last year when she claims that she met him. And then she does some hand-wavy magic stuff to make him forget that he said that. The twist here is that she's not evil, because it's making you think that she is gathering the Ghostbusters back together for a sinister purpose. Turns out that's not what she's doing. Her reason for lying to them, I don't entirely buy it, because ultimately Winston vouches for her, and Winston being stuck in the present day while everyone else gets to have these cool adventures in space and time bugs me a lot, because Winston was basically sidelined in both of the movies. He didn't really get a whole lot to do in either of the movies. A few days ago when I talked about the Tokyo Pop miniseries, he didn't really get to do a whole lot in that miniseries either. It bugs me that once again he is basically pushed off to the side and the other three get to have all these cool adventures while he's stuck in the present day. It's kind of like in The Dark Knight Rises when the entire city of Gotham was living underground trying to hide from Bane and his forces. Winston has basically got all the humans that he can find living underground while he goes up and he fights ghosts on his own. And he has sent this girl, Rachel, to go and rescue the other Ghostbusters. And I don't know why she couldn't have just told them, hey, Winston sent me, let's go. Instead, she comes up with this big lie that she was Egon's student, and then she has to kind of cover for herself whenever that lie becomes apparent. But ultimately, I really like the direction that they take her character, and I like getting to see the Ghostbusters scattered throughout space and time. It's really cool getting to see more of this world outside of New York City in the 1980s, which is really what we got to see in the movies. I like getting to see more of this world in other eras and other places than just New York City. Ultimately, my only big complaint about this is the being able to call this big twist with this one character, which is really only one of two twists with this character, and then also Winston not really getting a whole lot to do. But I really did like this. It's not as good as Ghostbusters The Other Side, but I did like this, and I think if you are still craving some some other Ghostbusters comic book stories, this is something that you should probably check out. I would give it a 3 out of 4. It's not perfect, but it's not bad. I enjoyed it quite a bit. It's just got a couple of minor problems that kept me from giving it a perfect score. So overall, I did enjoy this book. I hope that you guys liked this video, and if you did, be sure to like, share, comment, and subscribe, and I will be back tomorrow with a different video. In the meantime, you guys have a great rest of the day. Catch you later.